Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/FBIA podcast. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. For the listeners of the FBIA podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Find some of our favorites. Writing the Apocalypse by Eric Alexander. 1984 by George Orwell, The Beginner's Boston Dictionary by Marcus Albee, Plagueland by S.D. Sykes, No End Save Victory by David Kaiser. Books from all genres and walks of life right into your ears. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/FBIA podcast. Again, that's audibletrial.com/FBIA podcast, or go to FBIApodcast.com and click the link at the bottom of the page.
Previously on Football is America.
All I know is there's something about brainwashed alien souls and DC-8s with rocket engines transporting the aliens due to Lord Xenu's plan going on in Philadelphia, man. There is some wild, otherworldly E-meter nonsense going on in there. That is the only explanation.
What just happened right there?
Yeah,
what just happened right there? What the hell was that?
Did I have a stroke?
What happened?
I woke up in the middle of something.
What
the hell was that, Kyle? That was out there even for you a little bit.
No,
I'm impressed. I'm not even mad.
Basically me describing what it is to be a Scientologist.
No, I know that. No, I know that completely. No, I caught that. It was just so funny because I'm like sitting here ready to prompt you on like, Kyle, who's your loser? Then all of a sudden I'm transported to this magical land of sarcastic analogy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Football is America with Ron, Kyle, and Mike. We're gonna go in a different order. I'm gonna ask Kyle how he's doing first. Kyle, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
That's just well.
Well, leaning towards very well, I guess.
Very well. You don't seem too stoked to be back here again.
Oh no, I'm fine. I just I'm doing well. It's one of those answers because you were going to ask Ron.
All right.
I really feel like I just derailed the show, and I'm like, what happened? I just said hello. How is that so bad? I feel so guilty already.
You're like the last guy to give one-word answers, so I'm checking on your health, making sure you're doing okay.
I said I'm doing well, thank you. That's a sentence, Ron. Help.
Ron, how are you?
I am outstanding. How are you guys?
I'm hanging.
Just outstanding? This is nonsense.
See, this is what I was hoping would happen.
Oh my goodness.
To fill in our listeners and whoever else is going to be coming around this go around. This is actually our take 2 for this show. We did one, and Ron, how would you describe it? How that situation went?
Well, we did the show last night, and although hilarious and chock full of laughs and ha-has, the NFL was not amused. And
I do not blame them.
And
yeah, it was our bad.
Like, even for me at the 2-minute mark, I'm like, oh, this is not going well. And at like the 15-minute mark, I'm like, wow, I'm the one hurrying things along. Oh, this is not going well. And then once we started making references that we will not repeat because they told us that we can't repeat them, I'm like, well, I guess we're doing this one over, so I may as well just go fully nuts with it. And then we all went fully nuts with it because I think at a certain level we all kind of knew, like, we're doing this over.
Yeah, it's after submitting it, what I normally do is I go ahead and I edit it, and then I post it and submit it simultaneously, so that way if they come back and they're like, hey, you got to cut this out, I can do a quick edit and then repost. But what I did last night after recording the show, just because I was curious, is I exported the show and I posted it and submitted it, and I didn't post it to our feed, but I posted it to the NFL and submitted it to them, and they came back this morning and basically were like, no, like none of it. Like there was so many tag outs from the show that it didn't make sense. So we're like, you know what? Yeah, you guys are probably right. Let's go ahead and we'll
Oh,
dial
we
it
all
back a little
agree
bit.
that they're right.
Mulligan.
Like at a certain point, we weren't reporting on events that happened. We were just making stuff up and being mean. If we're being honest, we were just kind of going for being mean. And sometimes when you start off bad, you're like, I'm going to make it even worse. So that way I have an excuse to do it over. Like a kid taking his paper to school and he knows it's bad and it falls in the dirt. And he's like, you know what? There's a perfectly good mud puddle just a little bit down the road. Uh-oh, teacher. I don't know. Do over? All right, do over.
Mulligan. Yeah, it was our guy Jared that revised it. It was really funny. He actually said a couple times, he's like, "Yeah, that's funny, but we can't let that slide." And so it's at least good to know that we've got humans on the other end of our review team, but yeah, they're completely within their rights to kibosh that one.
And they're being fair about it. If they're like, look,
Yeah.
you guys are funny, but you know why we can't do it, then we can't act shocked. So, interesting side note, Mulligan was named for Steve Mulligan,
Why?
who always took his first shot over.
Oh.
The toilet was named for Thomas Crapper. That was his name. He invented it.
So how is the house coming, Kyle?
Well, we have some friends up here who are willing to help us out with some materials because they purchased a house themselves about 9 months ago, and so all their like painting supplies and stuff like that they're gonna just give to us and give us some help and some pointers. So I'd say pretty well, but we're in that lucky position of not having to rush into it, so we're taking our time, at least at the moment.
That's pretty great. That's the neighborly stuff I do like. That's really great of them.
Well, I'm coming to visit in July, and I've already been in extensive conversations with your wife to have projects ready for me because I, for some reason, really enjoy doing that kind of stuff.
Wait, you're talking to my wife?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, she didn't tell me about that.
Well,
But then again, she doesn't tell me about any of her boyfriends, so I just kind of like, whatever. When are you going to be back? All right, cool.
Gonna sit here and eat chips.
Showed up with $2,000 the other day. I'm like, where'd she get that? And she's like, oh, someone gave it to me. Like, all right, cool. That's how it goes.
I know Ron's, we were actually just saying how we need to put this part of the show shorter, so I'm going to wrap this up really quick, but I have a little bit of news that maybe someone out there would be the slightest bit interested in. That I met the right people, have pulled the right strings, and I'm going to be taking 2 weeks next month. And I'm going on tour with the music with a musician named Philip Roebuck. He is native to Norfolk, Virginia. He's a one-man band. I myself am a one-man band, and I've been working for him and stuff. And I'm going on tour. I'm going to open for my guy across the country. So if anyone cares to hear my music, YouTube, Mike at the Airport, and the all effing kill yous, but actually like spell it out like with the F word. And you'll hear my music and maybe see some more live stuff coming up. I'm sure I'll have a lot to talk about once I get back from the tour.
Are you coming to Alaska?
Even not this round. No, we're going to New Orleans and then back. So,
well, that's pretty cool. Make sure you take a lot of video, and we'll put some up on the website.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Apparently, his videographer is coming along too, so I'm probably gonna get some nice bumps that way.
Make sure if you go to New Orleans, you wear a sack filled with soap flakes and pennies. It'll go ahead and keep the hobos of the streets away.
Dude, I'm from San Francisco. I know all about the hobos.
Well, the New Orleans ones are extra smelly, hence
no, that's hobo. That's hobo with a B.
Oh wow!
Oh,
uncharacteristically clever.
Okay,
hey,
Wick. All right.
Before we get into news, I just want to cite one fact that I often like to cite to people when they make a joke like that. In the top 10 of all the cities in America, where in terms of homosexuals per capita, where San Francisco falls in the top 10 list? 11.
Oh, nice.
11. Yeah, number one's Atlanta. So I'm sorry. Number two is Atlanta. Number one is Minneapolis. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that they were allergic to the cold.
No, they. It's all that hunting and ice fishing and just. I guess you just like, hey Tony, I'm.
Oh, well,
that's
not real. That's just for convenience. But we should probably move on before we get edited.
All right, now Ron wants me to do a big grand intro for the news, so here we go. I've got it ready. You guys ready?
Do it.
All right, we're going to do some news. Chris Borland, the rookie inside. Yeah. Chris Borland, the rookie inside linebacker for the 49ers, is retired after one season due to concussion concerns, and the league has gone nuts.
Yeah, the response was generally positive. Most players around the league offered their support and their well wishes. Even some of them said, look, I don't understand it. I'm going to play this game until I absolutely can't. But you do you. So there's generally this element of it's a personal decision and we respect your personal decision, which is exactly the right answer. Good for the players for being mature about it. But Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, maybe not as respectful. Well, not maybe not, definitely not as respectful. And it's unfortunate because there's been a growing belief that Mike Florio is often called upon by the league to, in some way, shape, or form, kind of push out the mentality that the league wants. Whether or not that's true is total speculation, but it more often than not kind of seems like it. He tweeted out, quote, Americans routinely assume far greater physical risks for far less money and fame than the risk-reward of playing in the NFL. Now, when asked for examples, his examples got kind of screwy and illogical, where he said riding motorcycles without a helmet, jumping out of airplanes, climbing rock walls, working as police officers or firefighters. So I'm not exactly jumping out of airplanes all the time, and I don't know how that's a job you get paid for unless you're the skydiving instructor. So, and riding motorcycles without a helmet is a means of transportation, not a career. And if you do it for a career, if you're some sort of motorcycle courier, I'm willing to bet you're wearing a helmet for insurance purposes. And climbing rock walls, nobody's doing that for money. And
that's safe as hell, by the way. Go on.
I would assume so, right? Most places are going to require you to, have a climbing harness of some type. I'm OSHA tower certified myself. There's a ridiculous amount of safety, as there should be. That's how it just is. Climbing is safe if you have the right gear and you're doing it safe. Doing it safe, that's redundant. But to call out cops and firefighters and say that's more dangerous than the NFL, but yeah, that's a whole different kind of thing. This is the money versus reward.
Yeah, this just occurred to me right now, but people quit being a cop or a firefighter for the same reason. Wow, the risk involved in this job, I don't want to do that anymore. That still happens to them too. So he's kind of making the other people's point.
Yeah, and I understand that with the next man up kind of thing, yes, there will always be somebody to fill that role, but there's a limited number of NFL roster spots and all that, and a limited number of arena football roster spots. Heck, there's a limited number of roster spots for most high school teams. They'll turn people away after a time. So it's not a one-to-one comparison, and it's really kind of offensive to just say, well, there's other stuff out there that's more dangerous, and to discount it as not dangerous is ludicrous, which is really funny because an NFL-affiliated doctor and clinical professor of neurological surgery named Joseph Maroon actually said in an interview on the NFL Network that playing football is safer than riding a bicycle.
Yeah, that's a guy who is educated at Oxford and at Georgetown, by the way. And he said a comment like that. So that just shows you how disconnected he really is.
Yeah, and it's am I going to believe the lung doctor who works for Big Tobacco when he says there's no link between smoking and cancer? You have a bias here, just the same way that a neurologist is going to have a bias against reporting concussions for the league. I mean, especially right here, why not just say, well, there's some evidence to link it. We can't guarantee Chris Borland is showing no symptoms, so it's a personal decision. I don't even know why I'm here. That's the stance to take. They didn't take it because what they really should be doing is congratulating him on his personal decision and not, they're doing damage control before it's needed, I think. That's what it comes down to.
The other thing you consider is that, the CTE thing is obviously the big concern here, right? Everybody's worried about CTE, and the players are starting to get more concerned. This is the first kind of big thing that's happened where, future veteran players or would-be future veteran players are going, no, I don't want to be like that when I get older. And the only way to diagnose that kind of thing is once a player dies and they're able to dissect the brain and check it out. And that's unfortunate. And they haven't figured out a way to test that in living people, but the NFL is going to have to either A, do something about it, or B, do kind of like what we discussed earlier, Kyle, and that is just come out and say, this is risk versus reward. This is trading your future health for the spoils of now. That's what it is. What would you rather be? Would you rather be healthy until you're 80, or would you rather be a football celebrity for between 5 to 15 years? So, I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Are you willing to make that trade?
Yeah. And for a lot of players, I mean, obviously it is that risk versus reward. And look, I hate to cut you off because Ron, you actually are pretty good at making points about this stuff, but I'd like to discuss a little, if we could, how this directly impacts the San Francisco 49ers. It is really not something they wanted in their off season. It's been tumultuous already. I mean, first the loss of head coach Jim Harbaugh, and then all-pro linebacker Patrick Willis is gone, and defensive end Justin Smith is gone. And a lot of people were going, well, Patrick Willis can go because Chris Borland's young and he's fast and he's healthy and he's great. And now Chris Borland's gone and like nothing is going right.
Right. The best linebacker they have now is a guy who can't keep his nose clean in Aldon Smith. And let's not, I have some names written down here, but think about this. They've lost Crabtree, Gore, Stevie Johnson, Mikey Potty, Chris Gulliver, Bishop, Cox. They're all gone. All of them. So those are all starters. You have 2 starting wide receivers there, a starting running back, a starting guard, 2 starting corners, a starting defensive back, and also a starting defensive end in there. Plus you lost a starting linebacker in Patrick Willis and Justin Smith. You lost the only guy that could lead anything to do with your team at this point. I mean, Tom Sula is untested. I get that, but it just, the wheels have come off there in a big way. Like, I'm not talking like, they got a flat tire. I'm talking like they're driving down the interstate at 90 miles an hour in a radio flyer, and the handle and wheels,
those wheels
straight
exploded off like it's some sort of James Bond vehicle.
I mean, don't worry though, because they'll be okay because they signed Reggie Bush and re-signed Blaine Gabbert.
Ron, those are bad moves.
Oh,
I mean, with the horror that they've had in this offseason, like you listed, so many starters are gone. And, now there's this weird kind of feeling that the players are not a fan of the way that the team's management is going and that the team's coaching is going. And like, I gotta assume that if Harbaugh was still there, then Patrick Willis would still be there.
Yeah, it's definitely, in my opinion, that's definitely, I think Patrick Willis, Justin Smith, I think people would have resigned and given the hometown discount, but it's just the culture has changed too much, and I think people were spurned too bad. And I think with the way that this is headed for them, I'm giving them bottom 3 in the NFC next year. I mean,
that's what they get for getting a ficus to go ahead and be the head coach.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Well, the Eagles have continued their confusing offseason by working out Tim Tebow.
It's not as bad as you think, though. Because
how bad is it?
Well, so Tim Tebow obviously has a stigma applied to him. Everything that kind of happened with him, he has the kind of boyish and protected and sheltered kind of lifestyle that comes with him. And he, of course, Keil doesn't like the move because of obvious fantasy reasons. But believe it or not, Tim Tebow fits that offense perfectly. Like, if the Eagles aren't able to get Mariota, let's say that they're not able to somehow get him, he doesn't drop, or somebody takes a flyer on him, the Titans all of a sudden do actually draft Mariota. If that happens, I would say that you're probably going to see him at least given a shot in offseason, whether it be training camps or the preseason maybe, but They're going to bring him in and let him try and run the offense. Why? Because that kind of offense, that high-flying spread option offense that Chip Kelly truly wants to run in the NFL would be perfect for Tim Tebow. He was very, very, very successful with it when he was at Florida. And I think that if there's any quarterback that could come in and be successful with it at a pro level, it is him, for sure.
very possible. There's rumor and report that he has fixed a large chunk of his mechanics and his throwing motion, which would be a huge step forward. There's still the aspect of reading the defenses and calling the plays at the line and all that, but some of that just has to come with time anyway. But if you don't really have to be able to do that in the offense that he's going to be playing, because the offense is a design timing based offense. True.
Like one thing people fail to realize, and I don't talk about this a lot because Aaron Rodgers is an excellent quarterback and he does read defenses really well, but that offense he plays in, the design of it is timing based. He snaps the ball, steps to where he's supposed to step to on the field with precision, and goes to that spot with the football. So he snaps, takes 3 steps back, 1 to the right, and throws the football to the exact location. He is pinpoint accurate, and he's got a kind of extrasensory perception about the defense coming around him on the blitz. That is what makes him so successful. I'm not trying to diminish what he does, but that is the way that offense is designed, and that is why he is so successful.
You just can't stop yourself from talking about Aaron Rodgers. But anyway, it's, I hope that it doesn't work out, as you said, for my fantasy reasons, not like, the Tim Tebow shirtless calendar. No, we're not doing that in Kyle's head. My fantasy.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not doing that with him. Not Tim Tebow. He's not my type. No, thank you.
Were you like a Ben Roethlisberger type?
I want to completely avoid answering this question because I don't know how you think this is a good direction. Anyway, what I want is for him to flame out with Johnny Manziel so they can do my Dukes of Hazzard show. But you didn't really answer Mike's question of how bad is it that he's working out for the Eagles? Okay, so Mike, how bad it is like you're 7 years old. There's that weird kid in school who, he like eats bugs or he smells. Like there's definitely something off there. And you get told by your mom that you have to go to his birthday party. But then you find out that he's going to have bounce house and, it's going to be catered by like your favorite pizza place and all your friends are going to be there. So it's like, well, it sucks, but kid's super rich and I'm not going to have to see him that much. So there's some bad aspect to it, but generally it's okay.
All right.
Did that clear that up?
Absolutely did. Thank you.
That's very odd that did, because even to me, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing that I need it to be broke down Barney style like that. And you and I are of like minds that like weird analogies work out. So I'm hanging on every word. Don't worry.
Okay, cool.
So the Browns seem to be a front runner for this year's Hard Knocks document series.
Yeah, this one's going to be fun too because of all the teams out there that seem to just be. The only team I could say this would be more interesting is if it was the 49ers that we've recently talked about, but the Browns is definitely up there, especially because of the Johnny Manziel stuff. Like that is going to definitely make it interesting. And this might be one that I actually watched start to finish. Like I think the last one that I watched start to finish was the Jets one, which I think was the first one, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Wrong guy. Sorry.
I honestly have a hard time being interested in a lot of these.
Well, you don't like necessarily the financial and business side of the football, though, Kyle.
Well, I do like it. I don't, get a chub off of it the way you do, but
I like it. I'm sorry.
You a little more than like it, but in any case, no, it's just never really the one that I liked the most. Honestly, was the Dallas Cowboys one, but I could see watching this one with the Browns, because there's so much intrigue, at least in my head, between the head coach and the GM and the players and how things aren't going quite right, and Dwayne Bowe and so many little details. Old quarterback coming in and he's going to cry at least once on the camera. So there'll be some, well, no, I mean, he cried during the regular season last year. I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not also gloss over the fact that this will probably be the only positive screen time that Johnny Manziel will get. So.
Well, you assume it'll be positive.
I mean, they're going to have to spin it in some way to make it positive so that they can get fans behind what is going to be one of the most amazing failures ever.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm interested, but I'm not committed, I guess.
All right, well, I mean, that's all I've got on it.
Yeah,
All right.
well, I mean, they're the front runner. They haven't been selected, so we're still a ways out. So it's not time to jump up and down with excitement. It's time to go, oh, okay,
Right.
and we did that. So that makes us heroes.
Good. Ron, you want to talk about Greg Hardy signing with the Cowboys because you straight up called it?
Well, I didn't necessarily call it. I sort of did, which
You
was
roundabout did. You roundabout.
I said that if anybody was going to give him big money, it was going to be somebody who would do that kind of thing characteristically, which is like Dan Snyder or the Raiders or, Jerry Jones. And so when I said Jerry Jones, I also said I doubt it, though. So he did do it, though. So I guess that kind of makes me right.
Okay.
And signs with the Cowboys. Lots and lots and lots of criticisms from the general public, from politicians, lots of split down the middle. It seems like one side of the fence or the other here between analysts and stuff. Before Keil, I let Keil get to all of the business side of the stuff, which is weird that I'm letting him do that. But the thing is that he wasn't convicted. I mean, he was convicted and he appealed, and then all of a sudden she didn't show up. So basically, it seems like once he settled the civil suit, she was nowhere to be found. And that signifies, in my mind, that he paid her off. So, yeah, that's what happened. I mean, he did do what he did. He got out of it because he had money. That's a horrible thing. The question that was brought up to me by somebody else was, should we let one bad decision define somebody? And my answer, in short, is yes.
Here we go.
Because you look at all of the types of people that are one thing is defined. And I'm going to cop out and not go through all of the long list that I went through when we recorded this the last time. But I'm going to just say that everybody is going to always remember Ray Rice for hitting his girlfriend in an elevator. That's what everybody's going to remember about him. It is going to define him. So yes, one incident does define somebody when they are a celebrity. And the Cowboys, in my mind, I get that this is a football decision. This is a business decision. But when you look at a business decision, you also have to look at the fallout that you're going to get with a decision like this. And it just doesn't seem to really add up to me. And it doesn't seem like it could possibly be any good. I mean, this is going to dredge up any kind of dirt that the Cowboys have, especially with Jerry Jones and kind of the sexual harassment stuff that he had against him last year that people seem to have just completely forgotten about. In my mind, Hardy really could only have won by going to just a handful of teams. And those teams to me were the Jaguars because they're terrible, the Bucks because Lovie Smith's a jerk and he is the kind of guy that take on a guy like Greg Hardy, the Packers because they're a bunch of stand-up church-going cheeseheads that believe that they can change a man like that, or the Raiders because they love bringing guys with bad records into their organization. I mean, that's just, it's a characteristic of them. I mean, everybody knows what their team dynamic was in the 70s and 80s. But so the Cowboys bring him on, and now they have a guy who killed someone while driving drunk. They have another guy who committed armed robbery of a convenience store, and now they have a guy who beat up his girlfriend. So good for you. Nice trifecta you have going there already.
That's like really negative, man. I mean, it's accurate. I'm not gonna.
Well, it's just how I feel about it. Well, I feel like
I think that's fair.
This is my personal opinion. I wouldn't have allowed him to come back into the league. If he had come out and said, yeah, I did it, it was stupid, it was a lapse in judgment, I'm a horrible person for doing it, and I will spend the rest of my days trying to make up for it, that would be different. But he didn't. He paid someone off, and he got out of it. He is the reason that judges make examples of people. What he did is the exact representation of why judges make examples of celebrities.
Yeah.
Well, they often don't, but I see what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just like, you should have let me talk about the contract first, because now everybody's like, wow, I'm kind of reeling from all this whammying that Ron gave me. Oh, Kyle's talking about numbers. Shut the hell up, Keil, you idiot. So, yeah, I mean, I guess he's getting some money or whatever. Base salary is $745,000, but he'll get paid a dress out bonus, so it could balloon up to 11.3 mil if he plays all 16 games, and like 13 something mil if he hits the sack totals, which he probably won't because they're around like 14 or 16 to top out. But you are right. They really should not have been so quick to let him back in the league. But there's so much back and forth, and I think a lot of this has to do with, the NFLPA and, all right, you were a little too hard on this guy, so now you got to go easy on this guy, and a weird back and forth, and none of it's right, and none of it's necessarily super wrong. All we can agree on is that he probably did, well, he is almost certainly guilty, and he's gotten away with it, so all we can do is move forward.
Retired safety Darren Sharper's been charged with drugging and then raping women in 4 states now. That's Arizona, California, Nevada, and Louisiana. He did it.
I like the way you say Nevada. You say Nevada.
Nevada?
It's all fancified.
Is it?
I guess.
That's what you're taking away from me reading that?
Uh-huh.
Do we have anything else to say about it?
Wow.
I guess not.
I mean, it's not, it's, he did it, and the NFL could use this to spin in their own direction. And Kyle and I were talking about it. I can't remember exactly what you said, Kyle, but
I don't remember exactly what I said because that's not how it works, but I remember the gist of it. I can certainly expand on that. And really what you can look at is this could be good for the league, which seems backwards, but him getting caught and punished is, like Ron had just been talking about, you make an example out of a guy. Oftentimes, it'll make everybody a little more nervous. You tighten up your own personal, discipline. You stop screwing around a little bit. You'd get into less trouble. So on that note, it's good. But beyond that, it's good to see people being taken to task for their mistakes. And I've said time and time again, so much of kids being pulled out of sports is the parents not wanting them to grow up and be a part of something evil or dangerous or anything like that. They're wanting the best for their children naturally, and seeing, all right, people who do wrong are punished for it, and there's an element of justice, and it's not just you get away with anything. That's a good thing. So the league needs to kind of embrace it. The players have already come out and said, look, I played with that guy. He was into some stuff. I was not okay with it, and then I stopped hanging out with him. And that's good. That's fine. I mean, not everybody has to say. And then I went right to the police. That's not how friendship works a lot of the time. It's a weird thing. You don't want to be the dude who rats out your friend. I get it. I understand that might not be the morally correct answer, but it's kind of how it is. Just like when I see Ron stuffing his pants filled with hot sauce packets when we go out to Taco Bell, I should say something, but I let him do it because I'm going to push him down later and they're going to smash up in his pants.
I don't even know what to do with that. I had so much to say right there.
Well, yeah, but it's fine.
All right. Well, okay.
Look, Garrett Sharper is a bad man and he's going to jail, and that's good. Hooray, justice.
Yeah, that's the number one to take away here is that somebody like him will be in jail for a long time. So,
and that's good.
Definitely good. Another thing that's good is that we gave Mike his own opinion piece this week.
Oh my god.
And so let's lighten the mood a little bit here. We get into some of these more negative topics, and unfortunately that's just kind of what we were dealt this week. There isn't a lot of positive big news stories going on. And we could sit here and talk about every individual signing, but I mean, come on.
I can make something up. Hey, did you know that throwing a football is a
Hey, do me a favor, Kyle. Let the man introduce my bit. Damn, I get 5 minutes on this show, and you want to start with the Kyle jokes. Ron, lead it in. God, I'm over here all primed, and you over here want to start with the Kyle show. This is Mike's corner for a minute. Can I have my moment? Man alone.
We'll see what you do with this moment, Ron.
Are you still going?
All right. Well, Mike, the NFL holds Roger Goodell in high regard, and apparently much higher than President Obama, as he would not agree to appear on Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis.
This is the thing. Like, what are they going to lose? Like, what's this going to hurt? Like, do we understand? Like, I think people are really downplaying what exactly it means to be the president. Like, it's not your elementary school principal. You're the damn president. So I feel like, Between Two Ferns, Obama was on it. That should mean that no one else is going to get screwed over by going. And so when that was brought up to the league that like, Obama was on this with Zach Galifianakis, right? Their response was like, well, he's the NFL commissioner. Yeah, he's the commander in chief. Like you kind of make the other guy's point there, right? And I don't know if you ever watched Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis. It's humor at the expense of Zach. It's just a lot of awkward interaction. Like there's nothing. He's not calling anybody out on anything. It's not. You're not going on the O'Reilly factor. This ain't Bill O'Reilly drilling you. It's Zach Galifianakis. The fat guy from the Hangover movies. I don't get what they're so damn afraid of. Like this seems to be the no fun league. I can't get behind it. Bunch of wieners.
So I think, and I can't remember who brought it up last time, but somebody said that Zach Galifianakis should actually just come on there and be totally serious and just.
Oh no, that was me. You're right. Yeah, I said that yesterday. That would be the funnier way to go about that. Would be like they're like because they're the league when they were asked they're like, well, if you would participate, you cannot make any jokes at the commissioner's expense, which kind of defeats the purpose. But like I think like the best response to that would be to pull like a total Andy Kaufman level of trolling and just have Galifianakis and Roger Goodell just sit there and actually take it like it's a serious interview. And he's actually like legitimate leading questions and everyone's really happy with the results. And that's going to leave the viewers going like, what the hell just happened? Like are they being serious right now? Is Between Two Ferns a sports show? I think that'd be the best way for that to work out if they would actually let it freaking happen.
I would have asked him like normal everyday part of his life questions. Like, so what do you do for exercise every day?
Boxers or briefs?
Yeah. Like that's the kind of thing I would do. Like I would
What
just
is
be
your
like,
maid's middle name?
You're the commissioner of the National Football League. And I want to know what laundry detergent do you use? Like that'd be the kind of thing that I would ask because I want to know. Like, and then I would try to run my hands through his hair and be like, I need to know the conditioner. Like you and Troy Polamalu have obviously been hanging out.
Good. Like that's
you guys are really running him in there to make sure I don't say any of the horrible crap that I have on deck.
Oh yeah, dude. We know that you have a whole baseball team dugout full of just stuff to just launch.
Waiting to rush the field.
Well, let me ask a legitimately serious question then, and maybe I'm misreading how this Between Two Ferns operates in its entirety. But if you were to go on there and ask him jokey questions, wouldn't those be more along the lines of, hey, what conditioner do you use? Like if you asked him serious questions, wouldn't that be more negative? Like asking about concussions and dealings with the NFLPA, like wouldn't that be more negative than a guy going on and making jokes?
Kyle, you make a very good point and I appreciate it.
I also can't argue, and you have made a valid point, and that is weird. I'm scared by that.
I make valid points all the time, jackass. You're just sitting there ignoring everything I say.
I was just about to compliment you on the fact that you didn't call anybody names, you didn't raise your voice.
Yep. And so, like, now we are confirmed that reality is still here.
Yeah. the universe is still bolted down.
That's a dig at Ron.
Yes, thank you.
And now I'm back to being happy with you guys. Mike, that was good. I like it.
Wait, is reality being bolted down a thing that is that?
It's an ongoing thing, Mike.
Wait, does that go back further than that one? No, because Kyle, you said that one time and I thought it was hilarious. Is that's an ongoing joke?
Yes.
I'm glad
it is now that you did that.
Ron did strategically not tell me about it. All right, well, let's move on. Okay, got that in my pocket. Make a note. The Ravens running back Bernard Pierce was arrested for DUI Tuesday and released immediately.
Yes, I saw the news report. It popped up on my phone because that's where I get a lot of alerts from. Right. And then immediately I texted Kyle, I think, who was still asleep at the time when I texted him, and I said, well, he's gone. And then less than an hour later, another blip popped up and said, Ravens release running back Bernard Pierce. And then 3 hours later, Jaguars claim Bernard Pierce off of waivers. And Kyle immediately was like, ha, 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 that's funny. He's going to the Jaguars where he will systematically end his career. And, I mean, at this point, if you're a Raven and you get a parking ticket, they're going to want you gone. Like, you're going to be sitting in a meeting and sneeze, and they're going to simply like, get out. I mean, they want nothing to do.
Well, now you're making it seem like some draconian cult or something like that.
They're just scared. They're just scared, Kyle. That's it. They want no attention in anything to do negative. Like they just can't have it.
But they're not scared. They're fine. They're living their life.
I just don't get it. I don't get the DUI thing. I don't understand how in today's day and age with the technology that we have and the ability to call anyone at any time for any reason, no matter what's going on, that you still get a DUI. We were in the Army for a long time, Kyle, and Mike, you're in the Navy. And we have at our disposal, at our level of everyday life, people or services that can get us home in the United States military and prevent this kind of thing. And you're trying to tell me that a man that gets paid $1 million a year to run a football around, and I know that may be belittling the career of a running back a little bit, but
you're not wrong.
But you're trying to tell me that there's not a single person out there that can give running back Bernard Pierce a ride home when he's had a few too many? No, it doesn't make any sense anymore. No one should ever have a DUI anymore. No one should ever have it.
Yeah, least of all the guy that's got the resources that he has with the profile that he's up to. Yeah, I can't wrap my head around it. Like, I guess you done goofed. That's the only way to put it. You done goofed.
Well, at least he wasn't smoking pot, right? Right? Hey, comrades? Hey?
Can't have you speaking that commie language to me, Kyle. I'm still in the military.
Yeah, I was testing you. You passed.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, yeah. Well, it looks like Jameis Winston, the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, like the #1 overall draft pick, he's declared he currently does not plan on attending the NFL draft.
I guess that's bad for some people. I mean, it doesn't really matter that you attend or not. I'm more interested in the fact that he's pretty much not going because he doesn't want to be made fun of by fans and other people for the stupid crap that he did when he was in college, and probably, get torn down a little bit by some people. And he also doesn't want to be, not necessarily him, but I think the team that chooses him, which is most likely going to be the Bucks, doesn't want the negative attention they're going to get with him there. They're already going to pick up a little bit.
Oh, that's ridiculous. You're telling me that the negative attention at the draft itself, when he's going to be out there, and then immediately after you have the rest of the 31 teams picking, that moment is going to be so severe, but the rest of the year and the rest of his career is fine? That's ludicrous.
It's going to be
crazy.
I'm talking the media, Kyle. They're going to focus on it.
The media's going to be there, but they're going to be there anyway. They're going to be at his house in Alabama with him and his family. There's going to be a camera there from the NFL Network. All right, you're not going to have a million billion reporters asking him questions, but he's already done that.
But he's not there in person, taking the stage, shaking a team's GM's hand or anything like that. All of that's going to be done privately, and it's not going to be in a public forum of the draft where there are tons of fans and people holding signs saying, Jameis Winston is, a rapist and stuff like that. Because let's be honest.
But you're saying that is like something new to him, dealing with that, and that the pressure coming in is going to make him Vince Young it all over the place and just disappear for time. No, if they don't think that he is mentally tough enough to withstand that minor criticism, because it won't get much more minor than at draft day when there's a million other distractions. And I mean, as soon as the year ended, Jameis Winston, #1 draft pick. All right, go ahead and pencil that in. Makes sense. So it's known. So nobody even cares about that. We're all way more interested in Tennessee's draft pick. So I don't see it. I think that there have been reports that he is being pressured to stay home. I think it's more of just he would rather spend time with his family than deal with a whole bunch of these slick executive types that he's probably not comfortable with. He's probably a little more comfortable with, I don't want to be belittling, but he's probably more comfortable with people who are not, how to say this? I'm avoiding saying simple people because I don't want to make it seem like they're idiots, but how about people with simple tastes?
You're saying just a simpler situation. Less people, less bigwigs. You're talking about a condensed situation.
How about more genuine people? How about he wants to be around people who are genuinely happy for him and not happy for, the league or the team or whatever. The people who love him for him and not him for what he will become. How about that?
I'm not gonna say that your point is invalid, because it's not. That is a completely valid point. I didn't look at it, to be honest, from that point of view, where it's just genuinely about family. I was looking at it more from the team's point of view, that maybe they just they wanted to mitigate and lessen any negative publicity, or at least as much as possible.
And I get that, but look, if you can't handle it on draft day when it's going to be as minimal as it is, yeah, you go out there, shake Rodgers' hand, give him a big hug, hold up the jersey, photo, get mom and dad out here, photo, wearing the hat, people are shouting, whatever, I don't care. Then you go back, GM, coach, he already knows them at this point, and do a press conference or whatever. Yeah, he's going to have to do that press conference when they introduce him anyway. So it would be better to do it when there's going to be the smallest amount of media attention, the draft, as opposed to doing it later. And if he can't handle it anyway, then they shouldn't take him. So you might not discount my point. I'm discounting yours. I'm a freaking monster truck in here.
That needs to be on the official Football is America t-shirt. I'm a friggin' monster truck in here. Wait, are we good on connection?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if you guys were just doing that.
That's just the sound of someone being schooled.
Yeah, pretty much. I will concede this one to Kyle.
That's what
this one I will
sounds
do.
like.
It also helps that we've discussed this before.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ron is taking.
I'm having some deja vu going on. What's good?
Well, yeah, we discussed it before. We both know what's going on. Ron was purposely taking the negative aspect to make me sound good.
Oh, right. What a friend.
At least that's what we're going to go with.
Yeah, that's it.
You ain't grave digger.
Because you're a monster truck. I love that so much. Free agency is finally slowed down to the point where we don't really need to mention it, but here we are. With it, we got a couple points worth mentioning. Ron, what are they?
15 players with a combined 24 Pro Bowls between them were traded in March. That's an interesting stat, and that's all it is a stat.
All right.
But the more interesting part of the free agency is that Dwayne Bowe went to the Browns and has now said that he is there to make the Browns a contender, which just adds to what I believe is the delusion of some of these players that they are that good. Because as everybody knows, Dwayne Bowe, granted, 1,000-yard receiver in a few seasons with the Chiefs, not that good. And also, he is not that good of a guy characteristically. Like, he's a douchebag.
He came into my barbecue and...
Yeah, there you go, Kyle. That's perfect. Butt wrench.
Butt wrench.
And then Charles Clay, who I believe is a really good player, kind of he got in a tough situation with the Dolphins. They brought in Jordan Cameron, and he just ended up being the odd man out because he wanted more money than they were willing to give him. And I honestly think he wanted more money than he should have gotten. But, Rex Ryan, he'll throw money in all the wrong places anyway, so he went up to the Buffalo Bills.
I mean, who else do you want controlling your destiny as an offensive player? The answer is anyone.
Anyone. I just feel like the Buffalo Bills are going to cause the apocalypse, like through some weird butterfly effect thing. Like
that's way too much credit for Buffalo. They know they aren't doing anything relevant.
No, listen to me. Whether they mean to or not, I'm pretty sure these guys are going to cause the end of the world. And you want to hear why I feel like they've got this power?
Well, I guess we have to now. So
right, listen, the Buffalo Bills, I researched this. They barely lost a game in 1970, right? But it was that one bad pass that ruined it. So that put the record to like 310 or whatever the hell it was. But then they got the first pick of the draft. That's what's important. And they chose O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson stays in Buffalo for a while, meets his wife. Then when he kills her, he hired Kim Kardashian's father to be his lawyer.
Allegedly killed her.
Then
he wrote a book about it. Allegedly, my butt.
I'm sorry. Was I done talking? That's rude
so
of
Ron
me.
gets to interrupt and I don't?
I'm yelling.
Vroom, vroom,
I'm yelling
son
at
of
the
a
both
gun.
of you.
I do what I do.
Sorry, please continue.
Listen, so OJ allegedly kills his wife, and then he hires Kim Kardashian's father to be his lawyer. They win the case. That made the Kardashians somewhat famous. Then Kim and Ray J drop the sex tape and becomes famous. One thing leads to another. My point is that if the Bills would have got that touchdown and won the game, Kim Kardashian wouldn't be famous today. That's how the Bills are going to cause the end of the world. Some butterfly effect stuff like that. Ashton Kutcher is going to make a movie about it.
Gay fish.
Wow, that was a really obscure reference.
Kyle, do you like fish sticks?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
like fish sticks.
do you like fish sticks in your mouth?
Yep.
What are you, a gay fish?
And then I commit seppuku.
The veteran combine did happen today, so that's
wait. I got one note.
Oh, you got
Ron,
one?
I disagree saying that the 15-player traded thing, like, oh, well, that happened. We haven't seen that many trades in a while. I'm hoping, at least, that this becomes more of a trend. Trading is exciting, but I will give you that the Philadelphia Eagles and the butter mayonnaise milkshake that is Chip Kelly maybe just, made some bad decisions.
Yeah, to say that this offseason wasn't kind of insane right at the beginning of free agency it would be incorrect. I mean, it's been the wildest one I've seen in a really long time, but maybe I'm burnt out on the free agency thing, Kyle. I guess that's probably my problem.
On the free agency or the trade?
I think just
or
on the personnel
whole...
moves. I think I'm just burnt out on all of the stories, all of the, well, this makes this team that much better. And to be honest, we all know the one trade that really mattered, and that was Jimmy Graham going to the Seahawks, and the Saints should be ashamed of themselves. The Seahawks are basically going to win themselves another Super Bowl if they're able to do what they did last year with Jimmy Graham now. And yeah.
Oh, I got a thing that'll also be a thing with stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like things that are things with
All
stuff.
right. So we love J.J. Watt, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
He is also a monster truck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
He might be monster trucks. I'm not sure.
You know what else he is? I want to let you finish your point. You know what else he is? A birthday boy. Today's his birthday.
It is his birthday today.
I'm going to bake him a cake with pink frosting. You gonna be all right, Kyle? Are you breathing?
I'll ask, why pink frosting?
That's how I feel about him.
Okay.
Is
all
that
right.
not? I mean,
Well, pink frosting generally means strawberry, which can be delicious. But anyway, J.J. Watt's a cool dude, posted a video of him trying to vertical jump just that extra 4 inches he hadn't been and falling flat on his face. So credit to him for saying, hey, I know my limits and I'm willing to make fun of myself, and also being able to do something that none of us could even come close to doing.
Are you talking about that box jump with the spotter fail?
And he's willing to post that. So now NFL running backs, all you got to do is jump like 6 feet in the air and he'll be, below you. Just do that every time.
Big ass J.J. Watt had this 5'1" like skinny guy being his spotter to try to catch him if he failed on the box jump, and so he failed and he flattened the guy.
That's funny.
I want that job.
I did take issue with the fact that he's supposedly training in the remote wilderness. That looks like a straight up gym.
That's a log cabin, believe it or not, Kyle.
That is not a log cabin.
Well, it's a log cabin on the outside.
Look, if you have a building and then put fake logs on the outside, that's not a log cabin. That's a building with fake logs on it. Well, I shouldn't say fake logs.
Yeah, let's go ahead and beach an aircraft carrier and put logs around it. Oh, Abe Lincoln was born here, you son of a bitch. Freedom.
That's going on the t-shirt. No, that one's on the bumper sticker. Abe Lincoln was born here, you son of a bitch. #freedom.
All right. Hey, you know what happened today, guys?
The veteran combine.
The veteran combine did happen today.
Yeah.
You're right. You get candy, Mike.
Woohoo!
I don't want to go through all the players that were there. There was 107. I know they said there was only going to be 100, but for some reason there was 107 there. I don't know if there was some kind of late edition thing or whatever, or 7 guys just showed up and were like, we're doing this or something. But some players ended up being disappointed. Most notably, Michael Bush, 30-year-old running back, ran a 5.91 40 unofficially, and then a 4.91 officially. And that sounds really bad, but I mean, he is 30 years old and he wasn't exactly a speed back. So some did surprisingly well, though. Tyler Wilson threw the ball very, very well, and so did Brady Quinn. There's a bunch of articles you can go online and read about, whether you're at Pro Football Talk or NFL.com or, our favorite, of course, SB Nation has a nice big fat article with a breakdown of every player that participated. So go there, read that. The most important thing about this is that 20 of the 107 people that participated were former first-round draft picks. And 2, that this is something that I really hope continues, every single year from here on out.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people we saw this year at the Veteran Combine would be at the Veteran Combine again next year, or if there will be rules against that, or any number of things. All I know is that I really hope that those 7 dudes, it was all like that movie Major League where they were there and then they moved the bed outside and he goes out and he runs and he's really fast, even though he's in his jams. No? Okay, I'm sorry.
Did you use the term jams?
Hey, hang on. I feel like Ron is accusing Kyle. I feel like Kyle is referencing Bill Burr.
No.
Oh, dude, Bill Burr used the phrase jams in one of his stand-up acts. So he's talking about keeping a gun in the house. Anyway, it's hilarious. Yeah,
all I can think about
that's just how my brain works. I'm just an idiot.
All I can think about when you say the word jams is that Key and Peele sketch where he's like jammy, and that's his name.
No, that wasn't it. I just say jam sometimes.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't wear pajamas.
Let's talk about something happy to end the show, guys.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, here's some good news. Devin Still's daughter is cancer-free. We're all going to be really happy about that.
That's
good. That's the note to end on after this really depressing show.
Very happy for him. Unfortunately, he has not still been re-signed by the Bengals or any other team.
Yes, he did.
When did he get re-signed?
Like as soon as that news broke, he even said, I was waiting to find out what happened with my kid before I re-signed.
Oh, I last thing I read was that his daughter was cancer-free and he had not yet re-signed. So that's...
Well, yeah, but you're terrified of books.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. Well, it's good news. I'm glad because the last thing you want to see is a kid with cancer. I'm glad that
That's some adult stuff right there. You don't need kids having the cancer.
Well, and
although if that does make the cancer medications chewable, I guess that's good for the adults because you have cancer. You don't want to be having this pill to swallow. Chew it up. Make it a little easier.
Hey, are they Flintstone shit?
I will find that silver lining, although this time it's made out of arsenic.
Do you feel like that maybe, like, I feel this a little bit, and I know that this is the cynical portion of my brain, but doesn't it feel a little bit like they re-signed Devon Still because his daughter is cancer-free and it is a good story for them?
Are you saying that they wouldn't sign him if his daughter was still suffering from cancer?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that this whole thing has been good for them financially.
You know, I initially was like, that's ridiculous, but then I'm like, Jesus, I've never been able to think of a playoff team that had so little to be positive about in all of time, and that is, yeah... That you might actually be onto something there. All I know is that the less I talk about this topic, the happier the NFL is, even if I'm being super positive. They know how I feel, and that's all I need to say.
My last cynical note is that last year, best-selling jersey for the Bengals was Devon Still. Just saying.
Well, what are you going to do? Go out and buy an Andy Dalton jersey?
Truth. I mean, that's a valid point.
I mean, that's the sort of thing where it's just like, what, you're going to sell me the Brooklyn Bridge? I am interested. Just tells me that you're a sucker. You know how many licks it takes to get it to the center of that Tootsie Pop. And the answer is massive head trauma.
Well, now that we've arrived to massive head trauma, do you guys want to wrap this up?
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this. We're a little over time.
All right, let's get these thanks out of the way. Nick Wright at soundwright.com. He's got our back. We appreciate everything he does. Cindy,
thank you, Nick.
Yeah, and we need to put special love out to Cindy again. Sprinkle a little bit more on her than usual this time around.
Thank you, Jared.
Jared,
coming back and being like, "Hey, I'm not going to do anything with this. I'm just going to tell you no."
Yeah, and really do appreciate the professionalism involved with how they handled that previous recording.
Jared, I think you agree with me about Tom Brady, though. I think you agree. I don't think that you agree, but I think that I need to say that.
Judging from emails, there's a lot that is funny, but there's a lot that we can't put on here. And
you know what, though? If you're like we said at the beginning, if you give us the I get it, but no, okay, well then you're giving us a chance. And I like it. And that makes you our friend. You can also go to the Monster Truck Rally with me.
Big thanks to our listeners, especially all the new listeners that are actually joining us from the SB Nation recommendations. So we're big thanks to SB Nation for the shout outs.
Wow, too. I had totally forgotten about that. I am so glad they didn't hear the show we did yesterday.
Yeah, me too.
Holy crap. Oh man, that's the sort of thing that they'd be like, all right, somebody needs to get ISIS on these guys or something.
Wow.
As soon as we get off air, do I have something to tell you? Speaking of that type of thing, and a big thanks for the military for all they do. Come home safe. you're in our thoughts and prayers. And
especially with all the stuff going on right now in Yemen, and it just there's a lot going on that is just not good. And hopefully,
What happened in Yemen?
just there was I believe it was like an embassy or some kind of big attack, and they just had to pull like all of the U.S. forces out of there. That stuff hasn't been great the last couple of days in the Middle East, and all of these.
The last couple days stuff hasn't been great in the Middle East. Try all of time.
Well,
Try all of time.
I'm talking
stuff
about
hasn't been great in the
directly
Middle East.
affecting all of our supporting military members. That
Oh, so you're saying that the Middle Eastern people don't matter? That it's only Americans?
we have literally thanked everyone we need to thank, and this is what we're doing.
Yep. Okay. That's it. You know what? Let's wrap and have a good night.
Night, y'all.
Take care.